It's actually crazy how every time Pearl Watson, Morris, Sam appear in the same frame, something just clicks instantly, and you don't even need anyone to explain it to you, because you can literally feel it through the screen like it's not forced. It's not one of those pairings where you're trying to convince yourself that there's chemistry, it just flows naturally. And that's what makes Pearl stand out so much around Morris, because she doesn't try too hard, she meets his energy at the exact level it needs to be and somehow still manages to elevate it at the same time, and that balance is very rare, especially in Nollywood, where sometimes one actor tends to overshadow the other. But with Pearl and Morris, it feels like a perfect sync, where both of them are feeding off each other's performance in real time, and you can see it in their eye contact, the pauses, the subtle reactions, the way they deliver, even the simplest lines, like it's deeper than just reading a script. It feels lived in, like they actually understand the emotional weight behind every scene they're acting out, and Pearl in particular has this calm but powerful screen presence that complements Morris's more expressive style so well, because while he brings that intensity and emotional push, she brings this grounding softness that keeps everything believable and not overdone. And when you watch closely, you'll notice that she doesn't rush her delivery. She allows moments to breathe, which gives Morris the space to react naturally, and that's where the magic really happens, because instead of it feeling like two actors trying to outshine each other, it becomes a conversation, a real interaction that pulls you in without you even realizing it. And another thing that makes Pearl so perfect for Morris is her versatility, because she can match his energy whether he's being romantic, serious, playful, or even emotionally broken. She adjusts effortlessly without losing her own identity as an actress. And that's a big deal, because a lot of times when actors try to match energy, they end up disappearing into the other person's performance. But Pearl doesn't do that. She stays present, she stays distinct, while still blending perfectly into the dynamic, which is why their scenes never feel one-dimensional. There's always layers, there's always something extra that makes you want to rewatch just to catch the little details you missed the first time. And let's not even ignore the emotional authenticity, because that's where Pearl really shines next to Morris. Like when a scene calls for vulnerability, she doesn't hold back, but she also doesn't overdo it. She keeps it real and controlled, which makes every emotion hit harder, because it feels genuine and not exaggerated. And Morris responds to that so well, because he's the kind of actor who thrives when his co-star gives him something real to work with. And Pearl always does that. She gives him that emotional anchor that allows him to explore his character even deeper, and you can literally see the difference in his performance when he's acting opposite her compared to when he's paired with someone else. There's just this extra spark, this added intensity that feels effortless and natural. And it's not something you can fake or manufacture, it's either there or it's not. And with them, it's very clearly there, and people can argue all they want about other pairings. But when you break it down from an acting perspective, Pearl just fits Morris in a way that makes everything smoother, more believable, and more engaging to watch. And even their body language tells a story, because they move around each other so comfortably, like they understand each other's rhythm, without needing to overthink it, and that level of comfort translates directly to the audience, because you start to believe in whatever relationship they're portraying, whether it's love, tension, conflict, or even friendship. It all feels real because of how naturally they interact, and Pearl has this ability to listen on screen, which is something a lot of actors underestimate. Like she doesn't just wait for her turn to speak, she reacts, she processes, she shows emotion even in silence. And that's exactly what makes her such a strong partner for Morris, because he's very expressive and dynamic, so having someone who can balance that with subtlety and depth makes the overall performance much more compelling. And then there's the consistency, because it's one thing to have good chemistry once, but it's another thing to maintain it across multiple scenes or projects, and that's where Pearl proves that it's not just luck or coincidence. She consistently delivers that same level of connection with Morris every single time, and that kind of reliability is what directors look for, because it means they don't have to force anything, it just happens naturally on set. And the audience can feel that authenticity without needing any behind-the-scenes explanation. And another underrated thing is how Pearl understands timing, because comedy, drama, romance, everything relies heavily on timing, and she seems to always get it right, especially when she's paired with Morris. Like their dialogues don't feel rushed or dragged, they hit that perfect rhythm that keeps the viewer engaged and emotionally invested. And even when the script isn't the strongest, their chemistry somehow manages to carry the scene and make it enjoyable, which says a lot about how strong their acting connection really is. And if you pay attention to the emotional transitions, You'll notice how smooth they are when Pearl and Morris are acting together, like they can go from light, playful moments to deep emotional tension without it feeling abrupt or forced, and that's a sign of actors who truly understand their craft and trust each other enough to explore those shifts without holding back. And trust is a big factor here, because you can tell that Pearl trusts Morris to hold his end of the performance, and he trusts her just as much, which creates a safe space for both of them to take risks and fully immerse themselves in their roles. And that's why their scenes often feel more intense and more believable compared to pairings, because there's no hesitation, there's no holding back, it's just pure commitment to the moment. And Pearl's facial expressions alone deserve attention, because she communicates so much without even saying a word. Like a simple look from her can change the entire mood of a scene. And when Morris picks up on that and responds, it creates this silent dialogue that adds depth to their interaction and makes everything feel more layered and realistic. And let's not forget how visually compatible they are on screen, because while acting is the main focus, visual chemistry also plays a role, and they just look right together in a way that enhances the believability of whatever story they're telling. And that visual harmony combined with their acting skills creates a complete package that's hard to ignore, and fans pick up on that instantly, which is why their pairing tends to trend so much whenever they appear together, because people aren't just watching, they're feeling something, and that emotional connection is what keeps them coming back for more. And Pearl's ability to adapt to different roles while still maintaining that connection with Morris shows that it's not just about a specific character or storyline, it's about their natural compatibility as actors, and that's something that can't be easily replicated or replaced. And even when the storyline tries to push them in different directions, their chemistry somehow pulls everything back together and keeps the audience invested, and that's the kind of acting synergy that stands the test of time, because it's not dependent on trends or hype, it's built on genuine talent, understanding, and connection. And at the end of the day, when you really break it down, Pearl Watts isn't just a good match for Morris Sam, she's the kind of co-star who be